I've had a lot of people asking me lately, what is the best plate loaded lat pull down machine that I can buy? And to be honest, I haven't had the answer to that question. So I figured today in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at 6 plate loaded lat pull down machines. We'll take a look at the features of these different machines, some of the mechanics of them, and try to figure out which one we might prefer when it comes to plate loaded pull downs. The 6 pull down machines we're going to take a look at today are, we've got the old school Nautilus Xpload pull down. We're going to take a look at 2 of the prime strength pull downs. We're going to take a look at the one that kind of comes from more above, and then the one that comes down at more of an angle. We're going to take a look at the hammer strength pull down. We're going to take a look at this old school Freemotion Pulldown, and we're going to take a look at the Citadel strength pull down. Some of the features we want to look at when we're analyzing these machines. Firstly, we want to look at the resistance profile. How does that work? Is it dropping off? We want to take a look at, obviously, the path of motion of the handles. We'll take a look at the handles in general and how they work. Look at how much support there is and how kind of locked in we can be on the machine. And just any other features that kind of pop up when we look at those individual pieces. Here we have the old school Nautilus Xpload pull down. Really enjoyable machine. It's got a really nice resistance profile on it. The resistance drops off as you get towards the short end of the range, and it drops off really nicely. So it feels really smooth when you use it, and I think that's one of the reasons people always say this machine just feels really smooth. It's got nice handles, and the handle width is excellent. The handles actually swivel so you can do different positions, and the width is going to suit most people that use the machine. I can't really find anything negative to say about the Xpload. The one thing I will say though is they're going to cost you probably over $10,000 to purchase, which is pretty expensive for an old school machine. There are replicas on the market. You can find replicas that are produced in China. Whether it's the ethically or morally correct thing to be buying those, I don't have an answer to that. Given that Nautilus doesn't produce the machine anymore, it's probably not that bad that at least you can get one for a half decent price. Now, whether the steel is comparably strong, I can't answer that question. You'd obviously have to try them out and make sure you're confident in that producer before you buy one of those. But it is at least nice that we can get our hands on one of these machines, given that they're not being produced anymore. Next up, we're going to take a look at the 2 prime strength plate loaded pull downs. These machines are actually very different. The first one we're going to take a look at here, it's got a path of motion that comes kind of more from above, and it provides a really nice drop off in resistance, this one. And you've got obviously the 3 settings you can put the plates on, which is cool. You're probably only going to use the top 2 settings here. It's unlikely you want to put plates on that bottom setting because you're going to get the opposite resistance profile. But you can play around with the top 2 settings and it's really cool. So profile on this one is excellent. The only downside I found on this machine was that that handle is fixed and it's probably going to be a bit narrow for certain people. For me, it fits me fine because I don't have massively wide shoulders. But if you've got a big bodybuilder on there, it may end up being that their elbows start to flare out a little bit as they come down because that handle is just slightly narrow for people with wider shoulders. This other prime pull down, similar kind of setup with the 3 rungs or 3 pegs to put the weight plates on, but its handles actually move a little bit differently. They're on a little bit of an angle, kind of coming upwards and in between vertical and horizontal, which is kind of cool. It's a little bit different. And it has arms that actually diverge a bit as you go down through the range. They don't run on train tracks, they actually come apart as you go down. Now you can still challenge lats in this scenario because those handles actually move around. So you can still drive your elbows down into your sides if you wanted to. But it just means that that resistance will actually increase a little bit because you'll be pulling both downwards and inwards as you go through the range when you're looking to challenge lats on this version. Now I tried doing this with one arm just to see if I could line it up really nicely for challenging lats. And you can do that. You've just got to kind of slide yourself and swivel across on the seat a little bit to try and line your body up with the line of path of the arms move. I couldn't get it perfect on my first try, but I think if you played around with it, you could create a really nice single arm lat challenge on this prime strength one. With those diverging handles on this one, you could use it to be more of like a rear delt / trap challenge. And it could be okay for rear delts coming on that kind of angled path. But for traps, I mean, maybe you're going to get a little bit more low trap stuff in this version. But if the goal was kind of upper back stuff, I would rather have a row to challenge those fibers. This hammer strength pull down, it's pretty much an old classic now these days. It's only got the one loading peg on it, so you're stuck with the profile that you're given there. And the handles are fixed as well, so you don't have any swivel of your hands when you're using the handles on this one. Path of motion on this one's pretty nice. The handle angle is actually pretty nice. You would like a little bit more drop off in resistance. I'd say that's the downside of this piece. It just doesn't drop off quite enough as much as you would like on a pull down. But I mean, I actually don't mind it. You can get a bit out of it, especially when you're fresh and you can load it up. But as you fatigue, that resistance profile is going to become a problem, and people will want to swing that weight around because it doesn't drop off enough as you get to the bottom of the range. The Citadel Strength Pulldown is a really nice one. It's got a path of motion kind of in between vertical and horizontal, which is pretty cool for challenging lats. The handles actually converge slightly, which is cool. Also helps challenging lats a little bit more. It's got nice adjustability, and the handles actually swivel as well, which is useful. I found it's got a really good drop off on it. And what you can also do is in the one arm version, when you move across, you can actually feel it drop off slightly more on that version, which I've done a separate video on you can check out if you want. But overall, the Citadel one is really nice path of motion, nice drop off, and nice adjustability to it. This Freemotion Pulldown is interesting because it's got a cable on it, but it's also attached to weight plates. And it's a pretty nice machine. Like, you feel pretty locked in with it. Like, as soon as you grab those handles, it kind of pulls you into the machine. You do feel really locked into it. Path of motion's cool, lines up really nicely for challenging lats. Only downside of this one is that resistance just doesn't drop off enough. So as you're going through the range, people are going to want to swing that weight around because it's just not reducing where we're getting weaker at the bottom of the range. But it's not too bad. Overall, pretty nice piece. But yeah, just a little bit more drop off on this one would be nice. So I've put all these here on a comparison table you can take a look at. Just some of the features of each, what's good about them, what kind of lets them down a little bit. So you can take a look at that. I'm not suggesting you go out and buy any of these machines. It's more just for comparison purposes so you can see kind of what we're looking for in a pull down and what the machine offers us. Bear in mind, there's also many other lat pull down machines on the market. There's plenty of pin loaded ones that are really good as well. And as always, you've got to try them out before you buy them to make sure you're happy with the profile and that they work for you. If you've got another one that you've tried that you've really enjoyed, let me know in the comments. I'd be keen to check that out. And if you've got any questions, put them below, and I'll see you back here real soon.